Okay, it is 1:32. Let's call to order the Handbook Committee. I'm going to do a roll call. Karen Kent. Here. Brandon Holmes.
Here.
Jessica Clayton. Rick Buchanan.
Here.
Leanne Hines. Here. Mark Cycle.
Here.
Colton Murphy. Michelle Nicholson. Here. We have a quorum. Okay. Notice of the meeting was properly posted on April 16, 2024. And we're going to go into item number 1. Discussion and possible action regarding the minutes for October 4th and November 8th of 2023.
Motion to approve the minutes.
Well, I got it. Oh, the 10-4. No, mine's 10.
Okay.
Was that a second?
Brandon said it. Or I second if he had.
Okay, item number 2. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes. Okay, item 2, possible action for election and chairman and vice chairman for calendar year of 2024. And I am confident and secure in continuing to be the chair for 2024 of the Handbook Committee.
I have no problem being vice chair if nobody has objection. If they want to do it.
I don't have any problems at all except for the fact that I misunderstood on item number 1. I did have a question about, I thought you were approving first item 10-4. I have a question about the minutes regarding 11-8 and how that meeting, we had some issues in that meeting that I don't know if they ever got resolved.
Okay, so is there a motion to reopen item number 1?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so here are the minutes. Was there a correction that needed to be made?
Well, on the meeting on November the 8th, we discussed 640 versus 480.
Am I allowed to speak? Because nothing's been finalized on it yet. We need to get more information accumulated, and I have not had it to run by the DA's office yet either. So nothing has been decided on the additional accrual time.
Okay, so nothing
Nothing.
there. So that's why I made notes on that. So then there was also a question that was brought up. Can this county be less restrictive than what the state has said is a standard?
And we have not found an answer on that either.
So both those answers are,
They're still
they
open-ended.
have they been submitted?
No, they have not yet.
Are they going to be?
It's on my to-do list, and I just didn't get it into the DA in time to prepare for this month.
Okay. Let me read my notes. I'm sorry I didn't hit you right at the start, but
1023.
okay. So 2 issues,
They're still
two
floating.
still floating.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
that's all I have to say.
Any action?
Move to accept the item number 1 minutes. I mean, approve the minutes.
Those were already approved, so.
Oh, okay, we just whatever I did.
Alright.
I'm done.
Number two then. Okay, again, we'll go over number 2, the election of the chairman and vice chairman for the calendar year of 2024. And I had mentioned that I am prepared and confident and ready to serve as chairman for 2024 Handbook Committee.
And I agreed I would go ahead and be vice chairman unless somebody wanted to take it.
I'm maybe I'll move that.
I'll second. Thank you. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Okay, item 2. We regard discussion possible action regarding amending 2.29 travel reimbursement policy. And that's
Yeah, so we ran into a kind of an odd scenario where one time a year there's a extended length conference that happens. It's actually 2 that are back to back. The sheriff is on the board of one of them, and then there's the conference that we're actually hosting, and they kind of run back to back. So it's in DC, and it's an extended period of time. And I just didn't know if there was an appetite for the group. So under the section that I'm specifically talking about, here's the way it's worded. It says travel claims should show the airfare class involved. Air travel is reimbursable to most economical fare available, but not including first class fare provided. Reimbursement for first class airfare is permissible in the limited event that no coach space is available during the time period in which flights are required to accomplish a travel objective and minimize overall travel costs to the county. So really what I was wanting to do, is there a way or is there an appetite that we might have to, instead of having and, put or? And so here's the scenario that we've had. By the time that so it actually happened earlier this year and then also in February of last year. We just thought it was a fluke and never really brought it up again internally in the office. Well, by the time we book an airfare plus pay for bags, it ends up being more than the higher fare. But in order to accomplish the objective of the handbook, we would have booked at the more expensive rate because the handbook doesn't really give us the ability to bump it up to a higher class because it marries the 2 items that if no coach space is available and it minimizes overall travel costs. We met one of the requirements, but not the other. So I just didn't know if there was really, I'm just looking to change the word and to or in the event that there is a lower fare available because of total cost, bags, and some of those other things. And if not, no big deal. I just wanted to bring up on these 2 odd occasions that we've ran into. It doesn't happen often, but it's happened twice on these regional flights that are pretty inexpensive to begin with. So
The point is, you would be pursuing the best price.
well, it is. I mean,
The way you say it, you'd still be doing the right thing, yeah.
right. But again, the handbook doesn't. Because it sounds bougie, but because it is first class in these odd scenarios, which on a regional flight is not anything different than the rest of the plane, but it essentially gives you 2 free bags for that fare as opposed to paying for the bags. So
what you
and
say.
so it's just kind of it's just an odd scenario that we ran into. I don't know if there's any. There's certainly not a hill I'm willing to die on. I just wanted to bring this since we were having a meeting. I was wanting to change that section from and or, just that one word. We've actually we ran it through the state auditor. They saw no issues with it. So I just wanted to make sure, or at least bring it here. We started doing things that were against the handbook we voted on. So I'm willing to entertain any questions on it. It doesn't happen. That's the only time it's happened. It happened twice, both in February. So I think that they're in session, the legislators and Congress is in session during February. So I think those flights dropped. And so the fares are really close during that time frame when we book them. There's oddly enough. So this one happened to be American this year. Southwest was actually higher. So it was kind of a weird deal. Of no line, but so anyway, I just wanted to bring that. It'd make it a little bit easier to It would save a little bit of money. It's nothing earth shattering. Just wanted to give us the option in the event that that presents itself, which it doesn't happen very often. And it may never happen again.
Do you have an example of how much the price difference would be if we were changing that? Just off the top of your head.
$40. It's not a lot. You know, and really it just comes down to the whole bag thing. You know, for a 10-day conference, and again, for the sheriff who's on the board, I mean, one conference requires a suit and tie and a Class A uniform. The other one requires a little bit more casual stuff. I mean, so it's again, it's about 10 days worth of travel. I mean, he's been to several events. He goes to the Capitol, and I mean, it just requires a whole plethora of clothing. And so again, it's 2 bags and at $40 a bag now. It's easy to add on that base fare. And we do generally, fly. I mean, everybody's seen him. He's not very easy to sit between 2 people in Southwest, so he likes to choose a seat. So
That's understandable.
yeah. Anyway, again, it's really, I just talked for 5 minutes to save the county about $40. So I mean, that's really what it boils down to once a year.
$40 is $40.
Yeah. Again, I think it doesn't. Again, I'm just trying to. Right now, it requires both things to be true. I'm just the language of making an either or. I don't know what the state's policy is. That may be a copy and paste from the state. We may not even be able to do that. I don't know. So.
I think it's worth, I'm not sure how to make this motion. I make the motion that we accept the change to present to the budget board to make that small change in our handbook in the future.
I can give you the section where it's just really changing, scratching out and and putting or.
Do we have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, any citizens participation? Any board comments?
Yes. We need to have more frequent the handbook committee meetings if we're going to get this handbook updated within the next year. Do you set those when we have them, or do we as a group set those?
I think we already approved the schedule
We have
last year.
another one for November 6th.
You can always call specials though.
I'm going to suggest that we call a special sometime in a couple of months to get some of this moving. We've got so much building up. That's my recommendation for it.
I guess I have a question then as a newbie. What you said, updating the handbook, what does that mean? What's the objective?
We have an interim handbook currently. Do you want me to answer that, or do you want to answer?
You're fine.
Okay. And we are trying to go in there and get these policies all updated at one time so we can present them to the budget board, because the budget board has to approve any of our recommendations before the changes are made in the handbook. So I think our goal is to try to get everything changed instead of sending one to the budget board this time, one this time, and try to do it all at one time. And that's why I kind of asked for another
It's
meeting.
been an interim handbook for several years.
It's been interim 10 years, something like that.
So updating it really is just policy type
Yes,
issues.
we're just updating the policy in it, kind of like changing the or to an and or an and to an or. We're talking about a pet policy. We're talking about raising our cap on the annual leave, things like that. We have another one we're thinking about too, and it skipped my mind.
Right, we were also, it was brought to our attention from presiding Judge Andrews. Now presiding Judge Ogden is in that place, but he was interested in possibly having a pet policy for all of our buildings and the county. And so that was something that we were discussing amongst the commissioner's offices and thought
You
that
said a what
a
policy?
pet policy.
Pet policy.
They want a
Like a
policy
dog, cat?
like a dog,
Dog,
or
cat.
animals in regards to allowing other animals outside of those
Service
or
animals.
service animals in the building. There's a lot of, I guess,
Employees getting to bring their pets? or-
right. There's some pets that are coming, but that's a very overarching policy, not just for the handbook. And so we safety had taken a stab at drafting that, and then we put it across the district attorney's office, and they made some suggestions. And so
We're trying to comply.
comply and determine what's the best approach of putting that in place or not. So it's something that we're working on. But I'm with you. I would suggest that if there are some agenda items or areas of the handbook that need to be reviewed or revised, then you would just request a special and add those to the agenda. As needed.
Karen, if I may add, that one of those other issues from the 8th, November the 8th was, did we get that maternity leave? That was an agenda item
Yes,
that,
it didn't get approved yet.
so that still was.
And there's brand new rules coming out on that
So-
effective, I think, November 1st, March.
There's feds and the Senate had a bill and, yeah. So,
That-
okay, but
yeah.
anyhow, so
Yeah, it's
that's
still
another
floating
one of
as
those
well,
in
but
the cooker, yeah.
I just got a notification yesterday that there's new stuff going into that actual law that I think it's November 1st will go into effect, and it is a lot more specific than just the Pregnancy Act that we're all kind of aware of. But I need to research a little more and present that to the DA's office as well.
I am, knowing that this meeting was gonna have something to do with the travel policy, I went ahead and printed out just the pages from the handbook that relate to that. And so one of the reasons I was asking was because as I was reading through this, it's just, I can't really help myself. I had on my old English professor hat and I marked this thing up like crazy. I mean, were just redundancies and things that needed to be
Welcome to the Handbook
fixed
Committee.
that weren't, and that was just this one little section.
Yes,
Part
so-
of what we're wanting to
Yeah, so that's part of the thing too. Okay.
consolidate.
You got a job.
well.
Sound like you're volunteering.
Yeah.
No, I just didn't know if that was part of what we wanted,
More than you want.
what we wanted to do, so.
You regret making me come in.
Okay, scratch that.
Never talk.
Colton recently went and visited with the HR and some other elected officials in Tulsa County, and he was kind enough to bring me back an example of the Tulsa County Handbook. As you see, it's about a half the size of what our big old lunk thing is. It's very well printed, and there's a possibility that we could contract with them to print these for us instead of what we're using currently with the 56, 76 pages of our handbook. It's something for us to think about in the future, so I thank Colton for giving that to us.
Did you read the travel policy in there?
I was
I
looking
read
for
that
it.
earlier today.
Yes.
It's like,
Yeah,
it's like 2 sentences basically.
so I think this is something we could
It
kind
was
of
fun.
use as a planning as well as we go in the future with some of our policies. So, thanks, Colton.
White House, that's right Oklahoma.
Excuse me?
White Out Tulsa, but Oklahoma.
That was kind of my thought. And they're very thorough. They already have a pet policy and everything in it, so.
Okay, anything else? Seeing nothing, it's motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Your turn.